Is killing animals a natural right, a heavy responsibility, or a moral failing we've outgrown? Today, we're looking past the dinner plate to explore the profound intersection of biology, theology, and ethics. This is the science and religion of one of our oldest questions. Is it moral to kill animals? Before we start our discussion, please subscribe this channel and comment below to be part of profound discussions we do here. The question of whether it is moral to kill animals sits at the uncomfortable intersection of survival, ethics, and tradition. For millennia, humanity has wrestled with the necessity of sustenance versus the growing recognition of animal sentience. This debate forces us to examine not just what is on our plates, but the values we hold as a dominant species. It is a dialogue that evolves constantly as our scientific understanding deepens and our spiritual interpretations shift. Biologically, humans evolved as opportunistic omnivores, capable of digesting both plants and animal protein. Our ancestors' brain development is often attributed by anthropologists to the dense calories provided by cooked meat. This evolutionary legacy suggests that eating animals was a crucial stepping stone in becoming the species we are today. However, biology explains our history without necessarily dictating our future moral choices. Science categorizes life into a complex web where energy is transferred from one organism to another. In the wild, predators kill prey not out of malice, but out of a biological imperative to survive. Arguments often arise that humans are simply participating in this natural cycle, playing our role as an apex predator. Critics counter that unlike lions or wolves, humans have the unique capacity to choose nonviolent alternatives. Modern neuroscience has revolutionized our understanding of animal minds, revealing that many species possess self-awareness. Tests like the mirror test demonstrate that animals such as elephants, dolphins, and great apes recognize themselves as individuals. This scientific proof of consciousness complicates the moral calculus, suggesting we are ending the life of a being with the concept of self. If they are aware of their existence, killing them becomes a more profound ethical violation. Ethologists have documented that animals possess a fierce will to live, fighting desperately to escape danger and avoid death. Beyond immediate survival, social species like orcas and elephants exhibit profound grief, often guarding or mourning their dead for days. This deep emotional capacity suggests that animals value their own lives and community connections, much like humans do. Killing them not only ends a biological process, but severs deep emotional bonds that science is only beginning to fully understand. Beyond higher consciousness, biology confirms that vertebrates share the same neurological infrastructure for feeling pain. Nociceptors in mammals, birds, and fish transmit distress signals to the brain in a way remarkably similar to humans. This physiological reality means that slaughter, regardless of the method, likely involves a capacity for suffering. Acknowledging this biological fact forces us to confront the reality of the pain we inflict for food. Psychologists study the phenomenon of cognitive dissonance, which allows humans to love pets while eating livestock. We categorize animals into friends and food to protect ourselves from the emotional weight of our dietary choices. This mental separation helps society function but is increasingly challenged by ethologists, who find little difference in emotional capacity between a dog and a pig. Science asks us why we protect one and consume the other. Science now intersects with morality through the lens of environmental impact and climate change. Industrial animal agriculture is a leading driver of deforestation, water usage, and greenhouse gas emissions. The moral question shifts from the individual animal to the survival of the biosphere itself. Many argue that killing animals at this scale is immoral because it jeopardizes the future of the planet for all species. In the Judeo-Christian tradition, the concept of dominion from Genesis has historically justified the use of animals. This view holds that God placed humans in charge of creation, giving them the right to utilize animals for food and labor. However, this theological stance is often debated, with some interpreting dominion as a license to exploit. Others view it as a heavy responsibility to care for God's creation. Countering the idea of exploitation is the Christian theology of stewardship and compassion. Figures like Saint Francis of Assisi emphasized the brotherhood of all creatures, viewing animals as fellow beings deserving of mercy. This perspective argues that dominion requires us to be benevolent protectors rather than cruel tyrants. Judaism acknowledges the consumption of meat but surrounds it with strict laws known as kashrut to minimize suffering. The method of shikita requires a swift, precise cut by a trained individual to ensure the animal dies as painlessly as possible. This practice reflects a moral tension. It permits killing, but mandates that it be done with immense respect and mindfulness. It transforms the act of slaughter into a regulated, sanctified process. Islam shares a similar approach, permitting the eating of meat provided the animal is treated well during its life. The halal method involves reciting the name of God at the moment of slaughter, acknowledging that life is a divine gift being taken for necessity. It is forbidden to kill an animal in front of another or to sharpen the knife in its presence to avoid psychological distress. This ritual underscores that the animal's life has value and belongs to the Creator. Hinduism introduces the powerful concept of Ahimsa, or nonviolence, which deeply influences dietary choices. While not all Hindus are vegetarians, the principle suggests that causing harm to other beings accumulates negative karma. Animals are seen as possessing souls, Atman, that are on the same cycle of rebirth as humans. Consequently, killing an animal is spiritually perilous and disrupts the cosmic order. Buddhism centers its ethics on the alleviation of suffering, leading many followers to adopt vegetarianism. The first precept explicitly forbids the taking of life, a rule that monks and nuns strictly adhere to. While lay people have more flexibility, the core teaching is that all life is interconnected and cherishes its own existence. Killing is seen as an act of ignorance that perpetuates the cycle of suffering, samsara. Jainism takes the moral stance against killing to its most rigorous conclusion. Jains believe that every living thing, down to the smallest insect, possesses a soul and a right to live. Their diet excludes not only meat but also root vegetables, as harvesting them kills the entire plant and risks harming soil organisms. This philosophy serves as the ultimate religious argument that killing any sentient being is inherently immoral. Many indigenous cultures view hunting not as a right, but as a relationship of reciprocity. The hunter asks permission from the animal spirit and offers thanks for the sacrifice of its life. Morality here is defined by respect and ensuring that no part of the animal is wasted. It is a spiritual contract where the human acknowledges their dependence on the animal for survival. Philosophically, utilitarianism asks whether the pleasure of eating meat outweighs the pain of the animal. Contemporary philosopher Peter Singer argues that because animals have an interest in avoiding pain, their suffering must be weighed equally to humans. If we can survive and thrive without killing, the utilitarian calculation leans heavily against eating animals. This bridge between secular ethics and science challenges the might makes right mentality. Historically, animal flesh provided a dense source of essential nutrients like vitamin B12, heme iron, and complete proteins that were crucial for human survival. In many parts of the world today, meat remains the only accessible defense against malnutrition and stunting for vulnerable populations. However, major dietetic associations now agree that well-planned vegan diets are suitable for all stages of life, challenging the absolute biological necessity of meat. A common defense for killing animals is the appeal to nature, stating that because it happens in nature, it is moral. However, ethicists argue that natural does not equal good, citing that disease and violence are also natural. We do not base our social laws on the behavior of wild animals in other contexts. Therefore, justifying slaughter solely because it is natural is a logical fallacy. Science is currently offering a potential solution that could render the moral debate obsolete. Cultivated meat allows us to grow muscle tissue from cells without ever slaughtering a living animal. This technology promises the taste and nutrition of meat without the ethical baggage of killing. It represents a future where science solves a moral dilemma that religion and philosophy have debated for centuries. It is important to acknowledge that the morality of killing animals is heavily influenced by geography and resource scarcity. In the Arctic, where crops cannot grow, hunting seals is a moral necessity for survival, not a choice. Conversely, in tropical climates with abundant vegetation, plant-based diets are more accessible. Judging morality without context ignores the harsh realities of survival in different parts of the world. Ultimately, the morality of killing animals remains a deeply personal and evolving question. Science confirms the capacity for animal suffering, while religion offers frameworks ranging from stewardship to strict nonviolence. As we move forward, the conversation is shifting from can we kill to do we need to kill? The answer we choose will define the ethical landscape of the human future. That is all for today's episode. See you in next episode. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.